All right, and we are back once again to take a walk into the world of the headlines in the dailies across Nigeria to bring you the stories that are making the rounds and have everyone talking. This is Freshly Pressed on the Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1, your love music, love live station. It's 31 minutes past 7 a.m. Ayokunmi Kekere is my name. Great to have you join us as you always do. Always a pleasure to be here with you to have all these conversations. It's an interactive session as I love to preach each and every single morning. So that means you get to be a part of the show today by sending your thoughts in on WhatsApp. That's one way to do it. The WhatsApp number is 0809 444 0981. 0809 444 is the WhatsApp number. You can drop your messages. We look forward to hearing from you. Also on YouTube, we're streaming live at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. You can drop your comments in the chat box. I'll take those alongside the WhatsApp messages. All right, joining me this morning to analyze the stories and give their perspective and give us a better understanding as well. Devoe and Lakunle. Good morning to you, gentlemen.
Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Devoe, and good morning, the whole world. We are here where we are, and let's see how this turns out.
All right, Devoe, good morning.
Morning, world. Lakunle, new day in a new week. A cool porn site hypocrisy.
I had no idea that's what Devoe was going to come to come up with, but we'll be getting to that one pretty soon. And I'm looking forward to getting your thoughts on that one. But before we get there, let's begin our journey in Rivers State. We're heading into the Guardian, Devoe, and let's talk about Peter Odili. Now, in a landmark ruling on Monday, that's yesterday, the Supreme Court of Nigeria dismissed appeals filed by the Attorney General of Rivers State and the Speaker of the State's House of Assembly against the leave granted to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, that's the EFCC, by the Court of Appeal to contest an order of perpetual injunction of the Federal High Court in Port Harcourt that barred the commission from investigating Dr. Peter Odili's tenure as a governor of the state. Now, if you recall, this particular issue has been raging for almost 2 decades, as it were, and he's been untouched up until this point. But now, landmark ruling, the way has been granted to the EFCC to actually probe his tenure as governor, which ended as far back as 2007, if my memory serves me correctly. Devoe, how major is this? And bearing in mind the recent trajectory that the FCC has been on in terms of prosecuting these high-profile cases, will anything come out of this?
Well, the meat of this story, you need to understand the politics behind it and not even the legalities. Odili was governor between 1999 and 2007. And one of the craziest court orders that came out of the Federal High Court in Port Harcourt after his exit was that no agency could probe his administration. I mean, it's unheard of, you know. And up till date, the EFCC, obviously, that deals in financial crimes, administration, remember, after Odili, there have been several administrations. They've not been able to overturn that perpetual injunction. It's one of the most ludicrous statements of law that have ever been promulgated, that an administration would not be probed. I mean, on top of what logic was that injunction given, and how come it wasn't ever able to be upturned? Now, most times, the idea is that even in the court of justice, between the magistrates, the high courts, the appeal courts, worst case scenario, by the time you get to the Supreme Court, logic will be put straight. But in this case, across 20 years, Odili has been protected. Some say because his wife was a member of the Supreme Court, so some way, somehow, there was always somebody there to look out for him. Now, recently, as of the 10th of March, this position was overturned. Now, we also wonder what has happened. Is it his wife is still in the Supreme Court? Or is it because of the current political atmosphere whereby Wike, the ex-governor, is now who used to be on their side is now against them, because it seems as if ever since they fell out with Wike, the current uh, FCT minister, that the Odilis took the side of the present governor, Sim Fubara, and have been at eternal war, that maybe Wike has pulled his strings. And finally, that perpetual injunction that everybody thought could never be overturned is finally being overturned. So,
Right.
you know, that's why I said the meat of this story, is it about legalities or is it about the politics at play? So we need to really watch this, because it's not going to augur well in this country if justice is only a function of political might and accounts weight, right? Meaning it's only those who have heavy accounts that can get their way or get their bidding through the chambers or the courts of justice. So we wait to see, because I would have to say my curiosity is here. For you to get a perpetual injunction, what did you actually do? What kind of crime did you commit?
What do you have to
Yes,
hide?
because what are you trying to hide? If you were so clean, why did you need to get a perpetual injunction all this while? You wanted to take the truth to the grave? Mm? And if it's going to get this dirty, then they might as well probe all the other governors from, because after Odili was Amechi, after Amechi, he was
Yes.
protected because he was on the side of the APC that eventually won the election with Buhari. And then after Amechi, we had the proverbial Wike,
Mm.
who was still facing probing until he now got in bed with the APC. And ever since he got in bed with the APC, as you know, once you're in the APC, all your sins, like Jesus Christ, are forgiven. Mm? So we wait to see the outcome of this political battle, because
Most
it's going to get
definitely.
hot in River States. I'm letting people know it's going to get really, really hot in River States.
Devoe, I think you mean it's going to get really hotter in River State. It's hot already, bearing in mind all the drama that is
No,
ongoing. And
they haven't started. They are just
oh,
learning.
they haven't started yet.
We
Okay.
know how the rivers of joy always become the rivers of blood. We know.
Interesting times ahead from a Nigerian perspective and a River State perspective. We'll be keeping our eyes firmly placed on this particular story. All right, Lakunle, let's jump into the Punch newspaper. And what Devoe was alluding to much earlier, the House of Representatives has ordered a total shutdown of porn websites across the nation. Now, it directed the Nigerian Communications Commission to enforce the immediate shutdown of websites in the country. This directive was given during plenary on Tuesday. The lawmakers actually suggested that internet providers must block access under the new directive. And a member representing the Faskari Kankara Sabua federal constituency, Dalhatu Tafoki, sponsored the motion, calling it a step to protect societal values. And well, like on one hand, protecting societal values are not a bad thing. On the second hand, I mean, this is not something that is new in terms of porn websites and so on and so forth. You just wonder why they're just waking up to this. But is this really going to be as effective as they think it's going to be, bearing in mind the sort of wide reach these sort of websites and industry actually has?
As a person of faith, Ayo, let's lay the ground rules. Pornography isn't what any human being should indulge. The holy books, the preachings of the various religions is 100% against it. I am not a fan of it. So those ground rules are laid. But now let's remove the faith-based sentiments and religion and all of that out of it. While some of us see it as societal values, whatever, as the lawmaker has said, for some people it is business. Globally today, there's an estimated almost $100 billion money made in pornography worldwide. There was a Nigerian Bureau of Statistics publication, I think last year or very late in 2023, that said that Nigeria was number one or number two leading consumer of porn sites. Now, when we look at it from that perspective, what we are trying to prevent now is already gone beyond preventing, right? Like Yoruba people will say, the clothes does not cover Omoye again. Omoye has entered the market nude. That's where we are right now. We hear cases of sexual molestation, rape, all of that happen all around us every day. Our laws treat these things with levity. I'm not sure all the 36 states in Nigeria have strong actions and processes against these cases. You go out, you see pornography in the way people dress, the suggestions they make, tight-fitting clothes that profiles all the things that we, albeit called private. You go everywhere. There are rumors. In fact, there are no rumors. There are suggestions that there's a thriving pornographic industry in Nigeria that make videos and sell in the dark side of the internet. There are people here. Okay, so if we ban it, NCC blocks those sites. People know that they can use VPN to access these things. So when you look at it from all of these perspectives, you will think that this is an exercise in futility. I'm not sure that legalizing it is a way out of the problem. I think there's a deeper problem. What the first thing to do is what pushes people to want to consume this thing. Is it because they are jobless? Is it because they fantasies? Is it a psychological thing? There's so many things to be considered. You can't just sit down and make one law and you think that the law solves all the problems. Okay, so NCC does what it's supposed to do. I have VPN that I can use to bypass the Nigerian whatever and say consume what I want to consume anywhere where it is. So yes, the intention may be good, but I think that there is much more to be done beyond just sitting down in Abuja and make a law and say that, so it starts sanctioning people. In fact, particularly with our younger people, who I remember myself as a very younger person as well, as a younger person than I am now, that it is those things that they say, my parents, for example, say I should not do, that I am most likely wanting to do, to say, okay, why are they saying I should not do this thing? They will tell you don't do this. They will not tell you the reason why you are not, the reason for that you should not do it. That's how a lot of us were raised. Right. There were a lot of Iwokobodo, like the 10 commandments, but so it pushes people to want to do it. So what I think so we go back to the faith houses again now. What I think where we should start from the homes. Parents should encourage their children to learn what they consume, to have conversations with them. Okay, so in my time, if my parents caught me consuming porn, it is the stick, the cane, they'll beat me, right? But today we say beating is abuse, right? So what do you use to replace abuse now? You have conversations with them, but how does a parent who already consume porn, how does he have that kind of conversation with a child? So it's neither here nor there. It is so warped that I think that it's just beyond making laws. On the face of it, making the law is good. So if you catch somebody who is doing it, yes, you can punish. But I don't think laws are this kind of social whatever can be solved by making this kind of laws.
Yeah, okay, can I add something?
All right, Devoe, really quickly.
Yes, if Nigeria was a religious state, I would agree with the position of the House of Reps. But unfortunately, Nigeria is a secular state. So it's not a matter of religion. This is a matter of choice. It's even enshrined in the Constitution. However, globally, what happens is that the government puts in place laws to control the consumption, meaning laws that address age, laws that address people who have access to it. Also, what Lakunle has said in terms of the parenting and the right tutelage for to keep it away from youths, I mean, from children, only adults who can make up that decision so that the consumption is not abused. But you see,
Right.
remember when the MBS was talking about the rebasing of the GDP, they said they would add prostitution and all the ilks that come with it because of how much money is moving in that realm. This is part of it. Telcos usually withhold what they
Absolutely.
earn regarding pornography consumption because I used to work in a telco and I have to say it. It was undisclosed, but pornography consumption was the highest percentage of data use.
Wow.
AY, let me repeat myself. Pornography is the highest form of data use. It's normally not projected, but it is the hard facts. This is where the billions come from. So you want to tell me you want to stop economic progress? AY, it will become another matter after. Uh-huh. I rest my
Oh,
case.
oh my goodness. Devoe. Ajayi Oloniluwa on WhatsApp says, imagine former Governor Peter Odili getting a perpetual court injunction not to be probed since he left office in 2007, thanks to the Supreme Court, which has now quashed this ludicrous injunction. DG says, please, what city societal values are they protecting? You just talked about River State getting hotter. What about horror films, romance films, or will they block Coco Melon as well? Seriously, how much will it cost taxpayers for this new silliness to be debated? A lot of questions, never, never, never enough answers. Um, Let me see. This one says, my name is Kola from Kato. I support the ban on pornographic websites. I'm with I'm a consumer or I'm not a consumer of the site, but it should be banned. Kola, you need to be clear on that one. Let me know exactly where it is that you stand, whether you are or not a consumer, because you may have to edit your message. Anyways, let's get back into the conversation before and jump into the daily post. And we're going to be continuing on this trajectory because luckily alluded to a lot of things going on in the country at the moment in terms of sexual harassment and so on and so forth, that energies are not put into curbing those or dealing with those. Now, I'm coming back to what's been going on in terms of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan and so on and so forth. Now, the senator who represents Kogi Central, of course, she has taken Nigeria Senate President Godswill Akpabio to the Interparliamentary Union, the IPU, over her 6-month suspension and allegations of sexual harassment. Now, speaking at the Women in Parliament session at the United Nations in New York, now she informed the IPU of her alleged victimization by Godswill Akpabio and sought justice and called for the intervention of global democratic institutions. Now, Devoe, is this particular situation going beyond the sexual allegations that she leveled against the Senate president and becoming more about the conduct of the Senate in handling the particular issue, especially where her suspension is concerned?
Well, you see, Nigeria must be careful in how it deals with issues. And why I say so is when issues are not properly managed, they can collapse into things that many of us can't even control. What was just a chamber fight, which we all witnessed between moving of seats, led to a sexual harassment allegation, which led to court cases, which led to the suspension of a senator. Okay. Now, what's the issue here? The issue here is simply that the Senate did not give uh, Natasha Akpoti Uduaghan fair hearing, meaning nobody's against the fact that she didn't sit on her seat. If she defaulted in the Senate rules, then she should be disciplined. That is on one side. But in an equal review, if she has laid allegations, remember she brought it forward and they were dismissed, that is where the Senate erred. I mean, it doesn't take anything. As bold as Akpabio, as the Senate president, has been speaking, saying that all of you who are beautiful and are in front of me, have I ever harassed any of you? It seems like a joke, right? No, it should not be taken as a joke. If he was, it was, if he truly is above those accusations or allegations, then he could have stepped down, let his deputy or let the ethics committee look through it and come to a just conclusion that, look, madam, like some people have said in the former cases of where you accused people, they were unfounded. This Senate president also has been found, etc. Then all what they say, justice would have been seen to have been executed. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And it would have died a natural death and even given the Senate more of higher standing as a Senate that is above board, a Senate that no one is above the law. That's what should have been done. But you see now, because they took the other direction, which has now emboldened Natasha, unlike many women, Natasha seems to be a strong warrior. And what she has done is that she has turned this little issue into a campaign. Now, at the end of the day, the UN International Parliamentary Chambers may not have any sovereign capacity to do anything in Nigeria, but bad optics, the reputation of the Nigerian legislative body would have tanked, would have gone south. And the international press, especially with the Me Too movement, even though Donald Trump has tried to kill it, by the time this gets out there, it will lead to more critical scrutiny of Nigeria and not just about Natasha anymore. It will now be about the girl child and every other person that has brought forward sexual harassment cases and how in Nigeria women are under attack. You know, these things don't help your bidding when you go for investment meetings, etc. and co. So the truth is this. I think the Senate should retrace its steps and take a proper look at this issue because at the end of the day, it will spiral out way beyond Akpabio and Natasha, and it will now be tinkering on the image of Nigeria and its human rights abuse.
All right. Thank you for sharing those thoughts, Devoe. The Senate needs to take a look at this particular situation because it's becoming more and more and more, what should I say, larger than the original situation. Let's see how it plays out. We'll be, of course, taking a look at what's going on there. Zeman from Bristol says, if we're asking what does Odili have to hide that he needed to use the ridiculous perpetual injunction, then we should also ask why a then presidential candidate who now sits in Nassau cried out that he would suffer irreparable damage if his educational and legal history is revealed. Cheers to you too. Zeman, Daniel in Festac says, banning porn websites is okay, but when we have VPNs and darknets and CDs and magazines and books, I don't know if it will be possible long term. More seriously, how come the House isn't interested in the sexual harassment case going on, or making the alleged sexual harassment case, I need to add, or making sure that the age of consent is standardized and enforced all over Nigeria? Lakunle and Devoe alluded to that as well. Now, that said, Statistics just revealed that betting sites are the most visited sites in February. Are they banning that
Ayo,
as well?
Can I quickly respond to the...
Yeah, Lakunle, very quickly.
First message you read on the just excuse bad. I think that we should not be excusing bad behavior because somebody had done something. If it is bad, it is bad. Let's call it out. For every time there is something we perceive not to be normal, not to be right, that it is wrong, that it is not sensible, let us make it the subject of discussion. Don't let us excuse it because somebody has done something similar and has got away with it. We need to start going towards that place so that things can get better.
All right, Lakunle, thank you for that. Let me get back into the stories real quick here. Luckily, I'm staying with you on this one. Let's talk about Rivers State. I mean, we've spoken about Rivers State earlier with Peter Odili, but hey, they are in the news and things are hot over there right now. Now, coming out of the Vanguard, President Bola Tinubu on Tuesday, that's yesterday, told warring parties in the River State political crisis to obey court judgments. Now, the president also told stakeholders to make sacrifices for the state to move forward by recognizing the Constitution. Did we need the president to get involved in this particular matter for this issue to go away? And will it even make a difference in what's going on right now, Lakunle? We can't hear you, Lakunle.
You know that, but I'm thinking out in Yoruba again. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to be speaking English, but in my thought, it's actually Yoruba I am speaking. You know, they say that the elders cannot be in the market, and then the child's head gets turned the other way or gets worked, right? I think that's the role President Bola Tinubu had played in this matter, because the Constitution does not allow him to directly interfere in the affairs of the state, right? So we know sometime in the past, a sitting president declared state of emergencies in some states because he thought he could and he got away with it, right? And it is the same, the opportunity to declare a state of emergency in Rivers had happened sometime last year, and the president had ignored and had called them to a meeting then and said, look, guys, go and solve this problem. But here we are again. Because they didn't listen to that advice at that time, they are back to the same person again now who says, look, go and solve your problem within the ambit of the law, when the law already said this, and this, and that. But you see, I'm not going to be speaking to who is right or wrong in all of the matter. We all have our opinions about that. But right, the ultimate beneficiary of the nonsense that we have seen in the last 20 months or thereabout, because this thing happened barely 3 months. It started barely 3 months into the life of this administration in Rivers, right? The ultimate beneficiary of all this nonsense is the people of Rivers State, who have not had any form of governance that they can refer to in the last 2 years. Don't forget, the State House of Assembly was destroyed, right? Was demolished, rather, because of this thing. The State Assembly had not sat. There have been 2 budget cycles that have been run without approval. There had been, how do I call it? A restless peace environment in Rivers State because of this. And now everybody's eyes are clearing. There's going to be an election in another 19 or 20 months from now, and people are seeing it the way they should see it. So it's a good thing that finally people are letting go of their egos and they are agreeing to sit around the table to solve the problem within the ambit of the pronouncement of the Supreme Court, the ambit of the Constitution of the Federal Republic, and with the common sense that it deserves. I hope that the Rivers people will stand up and encourage these people. I will also, as a personal opinion, say, please don't see it as a winner or loser thing.
All right. Okay, let's dive into the messages very quickly because time has absolutely flown by here. Joseph Menier in Silver State, Ejigbo, Lagos says the Senate is back again with misplaced priorities. Thousands of farmers, citizens are killed daily by the menace of the kidnappers and terrorists, yet deafening silence and the nonchalant response, but are always quick to less logical issues like banning porn, which there's an industry in Nigeria already. Inviting multi-festival subscription increments, which is a choice, not a necessity. The citizens are in the worst situations ever. Imagine in all these shenanigans. Digi says, sexual harassment is what women are actually going through today. It's disgusting how it's being treated with levity and ridicule. Ridicule, even more baffling how women are not supporting their own. Well, I think support should be given when all the facts of the matter are actually, should I say, put forward. It shouldn't be blind support. And that goes across board. Women or men don't support blindly. Tally says, the Senate should not have done that, especially if the matter had truth in it. Without mincing words, women suffer untold harassment. Rexy says the same terms of agreement that President Tinubu negotiated for the parties 18 months ago is what Governor Fubara is bowing to implement to the letter today. We should listen to the president more. Okay. And let me just see if I can squeeze in one or two here. This is okay. No, I will not. I will not touch on that one. This is from Edgar. Edgar says our problem transcends the ban of pornography sites. To Devoe Akpabio to step down in Nigeria, the only thing that steps down are transformers. Oh my goodness, we have to call it a morning. We really need to go. Thank you for all the messages. Big thank you to you, Devoe and Lakunle, for taking the time out to join me this morning on Freshly Pressed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ayo. Mr. C, I see you. Happy New Year to you.
All right.
People have a good day, and Ayo, thank you for having me.
No, absolutely great having you guys on. Thank you so much. And thank you once again for being a part of Freshly Pressed this morning, keeping it tuned and sending those thoughts in. Don't go anywhere. The Smooth Breakfast kicks on 8:15. It's that time to get into the world of sports in the locker room. And it's a wrap.